So hello everyone, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day and welcome to another video. Now, at the time of recording this, as you can see here, it's September 8th, which means it is one day before the iPhone 16 event, which happens tomorrow. So I might as well just go ahead and give you guys a long-term review and a one-year review of the iPhone 15 Pro Max that I've been using over the past year. Now, the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max have been phones that I was genuinely excited about when they first revealed. I mean, Apple really touted the gaming capabilities of these phones. Like, they literally spent a good chunk of the Apple event, if you guys can recall from last year, just talking about the gaming performance and the new chip, all that stuff, and especially the AAA games. So in this video, I not only want to talk about just me using the phone in general, but talk about mainly the gaming capability and the gaming aspects of this iPhone and how it is over the past year of using it. And TLDR, I'm a little disappointed in that, but you know, that's not to say that the phone is bad. You know, this is a fantastic phone for just general purpose stuff. So let's go ahead and just go into the review. So first of all, usability wise, I mean, this phone is fantastic. First of all, this thing is still relatively good weight and size in my personal opinion. I'm personally not someone who has ever used a Max phone before, but after going to this bigger screen, it's kind of hard going back to a smaller one just because of how much I use this phone for content consumption and all that stuff. So absolutely love the size of this phone, especially coming from a non-pro or even like a non-plus user. I mean, the extra screen real estate with the Pros is pretty dang nice. So yeah, that's one thing I love it. Also, this thing has been a fantastic content creation machine. Most, if not all, of the past year's worth of footage and like B-roll and all that stuff have all been recorded on this specific phone. And you know, the footage and all that stuff has been absolutely fantastic. This camera is just incredible for a phone. So like if I go into here, I mean, you have so many options, even the default, like the default settings. I mean, first of all, photos and stuff, right? So being able to set it to RAW so you can have the best quality if you want to, or even like just JPEG, 48 megapixels, 5x zoom, 5x zoom with the Pro Max, so you can get really good macro or very good zoom in shots, and video capture that doesn't look grainy, which is fantastic for the channel and just makes it so that I can make much higher quality videos. This camera is just amazing for content creation, and couple that with some, you know, heavy working apps like say that do like Lightroom as an example, right? Like I use Adobe Lightroom to edit and you know, edit my thumbnails mainly. So this is a one from my Black Ops 6 review that I just decided to tinker around with. This thing is just, as you can see here, being able to just tinker around and just quickly go in, and with the raw footage you can easily get like the best quality HDR and all that stuff. I mean, for content creation, this thing is fantastic. I absolutely love this this device for content creation, and the USB-C, you know, port has been extremely helpful for that, since a lot of the times I don't offload my footage via AirDrop. I offload it via a external SSD into here and then edit off the SSD onto my Mac for editing any videos. So yeah, absolutely love this thing as a content creation machine, and YouTube and just content consumption is exactly the same experience. As I noted before, the extra screen real estate makes it really nice. I'm still not a big fan of the dynamic island in my personal opinion. It just interferes a lot with a lot of the content that you can do on this thing, but overall, I mean, the phone itself, just for watching YouTube videos and all that stuff, is pretty dang good, and pretty happy with just watching videos and just having this display. So like even here I can have this. It's pretty good. I really like this kind of like little setup here. It truly feels like a mini PC for me. For those specific general areas, like general tasks, you know, watching YouTube videos, browsing Reddit and all that stuff, and making YouTube videos, absolutely flawless. I love this thing. And something else that didn't cross my mind until later on is Apple Intelligence. You know, these phones will be the only phones outside the iPhone 16 that will support Apple Intelligence. So if you're someone who's really big on that, like Open Chat or like OpenAI or Chat GPT stuff, having that feature come to this phone within the next couple of months is a massive pro, especially compared to older iPhones or even like the base iPhone 15. Now, let's talk about the big thing, which is gaming. First of all, performance-wise, a lot of these games will run absolutely flawlessly for the most part. Let me pull up Zenless Zone Zero. This is a game that I've been playing a lot heavily. On this 15 Pro Max, it's been pretty dang good performance-wise, but there's a major problem with gaming on this phone that completely kills my love for treating this as like one of my gaming devices. So we're going ahead and we're going into this this little boss fight thing. As you can see here, performance is kind of amazing. I mean, this thing is no slouch. The chip that they added for this thing is absolutely amazing for gaming. But with that comes a major problem in terms of thermals. So as you can see, if you open up here, if I go in here and open up, as you can see here, I'm running this game at medium to low settings. And you're wondering, why am I running this at medium to low settings when this chip is powerful enough to run this at high? And the main problem is because of this thing's lackluster thermal system. With those higher settings, this game will run the phone extremely hot. This was something that ended up being a lot more problematic than I anticipated. I initially thought that like the thermal issues weren't going to be a major issue, mainly because of the titanium design and all that stuff, but no. I mean, when you're playing this thing at higher settings, like this phone gets extremely warm, a little bit too warm for my comfort, and as a result, you know, obviously when you have too much heat, you need some way to cool it, and so the chip has to literally throttle to keep itself in check without it basically imploding. So as a result, right, if you play at higher settings, you're gonna have good performance for like 30 to 40 minutes, but then after that, once the thermal throttling comes in, this thing tanks in frame rate, and it's real bad. That's a real bummer too, because like with the Galaxy and all that stuff, with those other phones that have like somewhat like actual decent cooling solutions that involve like maybe like liquid cooling or like thermal sheets, those are quite sufficient enough to keep the frame rate and performance consistent for long periods of time, right? But with this phone, which doesn't have that, that becomes a major problem, because all of a sudden you can't play games for more than like 30 minutes or like an hour, 30 or more minutes or whatever, because of those thermal issues. So we're launched. So you can see here we're in Assassin's Creed. So let me first, before I do anything, let me go ahead and show you guys the settings real quick of what I have right now. So we're just on medium graphics, right? And the game is running okay. At medium settings, you can see here we're running at around, I would say, 30 FPS decently, 25 to 30 FPS, which is all right, you know. But like I said, when those thermal issues come into play and you end up going into that thermal throttling state, the performance will stutter real bad. And when you're playing something like Assassin's Creed Mirage, like these AAA games that are designed to be played with hour-plus long sessions, like you want to be invested into this instead of these like cookie clicker kind of like quick experience that most mobile games are, the performance hit is abysmal, and it ends up being super unplayable compared to like even devices like the Steam Deck, just because it has actual active cooling solutions, which is kind of a bummer, because like at like this, even though it is running quite choppily, and you know the graphics aren't that great compared to like the next gen consoles and all that stuff, I mean, this is the massive deal breaker for me. It's why I commonly tout this as the worst best gaming phone, because it has the potential, it has the chip, it has the support of some of these amazing AAA games, but just Apple's like incompetence to add actual good thermal solutions is a massive problem here. Hopefully the iPhone 16 actually adds some good, decent thermal solutions, because this 15 Pro Max struggles to run these newer games. As you can see here, we are hitting that thermal throttle limit, and you can see here, oh my god, the frame rate. Yeah, no, this is definitely not playable in my personal opinion. I'm shocked that it came so quickly, to be honest with you. Like, this phone is getting pretty toasty already, so yeah, I mean, already the performance is starting to tank right now, so that sucks. I mean, Like I said before, this performance is something you'll unfortunately have to experience when you play these AAA games that have been ported onto here. So yeah, this has so much potential. This phone has so much potential to run some amazing games here, but because of that thermal throttle limit and those issues with heat, it just all just goes crumbling down. And something I forgot to mention actually is because of that heat and all that stuff, this phone's battery can drain quite quickly when you're playing games. Now, going into the battery real quick, my battery has not been fantastic over the past couple of months. I'm not sure what happened. I was at a good 100% capacity for like the first 8 months, but then all of a sudden it just tanked down, and now I'm at like 91% at 370 charges. The reason why the count is so high is because sometimes I'll have to charge twice in a single day because of how heavily I use the phone to watch YouTube videos, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, battery life is great when you're not gaming, but once you're gaming or doing anything like watching YouTube videos, oh man, it drains pretty badly. That's a big issue too here. So wrapping up everything here about this phone, right? And what I'm going to say is this: if you're not someone who games a lot or plays a lot of these like mobile, like big blockbuster games like Genshin or Hoyoverse games or anything like that, or are someone who wants to play like Resident Evil or, you know, those types of games, this phone is fantastic. I mean, for content creation and content consumption, this phone is amazing. I mean, you got the amazing camera system, a USB-C port to, you know, offload all of your footage onto an SSD if you want to for in seconds, which is nice, and a big screen and a bright screen as well that will basically last you through the day. Other than that, this phone, specifically for the area that I was most interested in, which was gaming, has been a big letdown because of those massive thermal issues. I mean, if this thing had the cooling solution of like the ROG phone or the even like the S24 Ultra, I can see the performance of this thing being substantially better, mainly because it's able to sustain max performance for longer because of an somewhat active cooling solution. But as of right now, because of that limitation, this phone just cannot keep up with those like in those games just because of the throttling issues. We'll see if the iPhone 16 comes in to solve that issue, but at the moment, if you're looking for a gaming phone, I would probably not get the 15 Pro. I would probably wait first to see if the 16 has anything to offer in terms of thermal performance. But otherwise, if you don't care about gaming, this phone is absolutely fantastic for content creation. So yeah, that's all I'm going to put it here. In terms of gaming, this is the worst, best gaming phone. But for everything else, this thing is a top contender, and I seriously do not regret purchasing this phone for the YouTube channel. This thing has been amazing for it. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like. I'm gonna go ahead and get back onto Astrobot, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Later.